Hello and welcome to our video on the most dangerous serial killers. In this video, we'll be exploring some of the most deranged and notorious serial killers of all time. Let's start with Ted Bundy, one of the most infamous killers in history. Ted Bundy, born in 1946 and executed in 1989, is known for being a necrophile, kidnapper, rapist, burglar, and serial killer. He kidnapped his female victims, raped them, and then dismembered them, often keeping their heads as souvenirs. Bundy confessed to killing 30 women, although the actual number of his victims is probably much higher. Next on our list is Harold Shipman, also known as Dr. Death. Shipman is believed to have murdered 218 of his patients between 1972 and 1998, but the actual number is likely much higher. As a physician, he had easy access to potential victims, which allowed him to be such a prolific killer without raising suspicion. Shipman was eventually convicted in 2000, but only after a victim's daughter reported that he had tried to write a will for the victim, naming himself as the beneficiary. He died by suicide in prison in 2004. Andrei Chikatilo, the Butcher of Rostov, was a Russian serial killer who sexually assaulted, murdered, and mutilated more than 50 young women and children between 1978 and 1990. Chikatilo killed his victims by stabbing and slashing them with a knife, and admitted that he could only achieve orgasm by stabbing women, which made it difficult for him to resist his strong urges to kill. He was tried for 53 murders, sentenced to death, and executed by firing squad in 1994. Jeffrey Dahmer, known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, was convicted of murdering 17 young men over a 14-year period. But Dahmer didn't just kill his victims, he also raped, dismembered, and sometimes even ate them. During his trial, Dahmer admitted to drilling a hole into his victims' heads in an attempt to turn them into mindless sex slaves. Dahmer was beaten to death in prison in 1994. Albert Fish was dubbed the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Gray Man, and the Boogeyman. He was tried and found guilty of raping, killing, and cannibalizing 3 children in the early 1900s, although he claimed that he had murdered more like 100 children, and even boasted that he had children in every state. Fish sent a letter to the mother of one of his victims, 10-year-old Grace Budd, which detailed how he had lured the little girl, strangled her, and then cut her into pieces to eat over the course of 9 days. John Wayne Gacy, also known as Killer Clown, was convicted of raping, torturing, and murdering 33 teenage boys over a 6-year period. He lured them to his home, killed them via either strangulation or asphyxiation, then buried them on his property. Gacy was executed in 1994. Jack the Ripper may be a name that everyone knows, but no one can be certain of his true identity. In 1888, Jack the Ripper terrorized the Whitechapel neighborhood of London by slitting the throats and abdomens of at least 5 prostitutes and leaving them for dead. Sometimes, he would even remove the woman's uterus and take it as a sort of prize. Thanks for watching.